Hello and welcome to this special Fourth Friday with the U.S. General Services Administration. Today's date is February 24th, 2023, and it is my privilege to introduce Antoinette Scott. She's a business management specialist in the Innovation Division of GSA's Office of Information Technology category of the Federal Acquisition Service. She's been with the GSA since 1998 and currently serves as the ITC Outreach Lead, working with industry partners and small business organizations like PTAC to build relationships with the federal government. She holds monthly industry outreach sessions and has conducted workshops and training seminars on how to do business with the federal government. She has a bachelor's degree from Strayer University in Business Administration and has FAC PPM Level 3 certifications. I'll turn it over to you, Antoinette. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie, for that introduction, and welcome to all our attendees. I'm thrilled to be here and to have the opportunity to be the moderator for today's discussion on empowering the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers to help small businesses obtain a GSA Schedule Contract. But first, I would like to introduce to you Cheryl Thornton Cameron, who is one of the senior leaders at GSA's Information Technology category, or ITC, where she is the Executive Director, SCS, for the Office of Acquisition Scrim Operations. Ms. Thornton Cameron has over 30 years of government service experience and holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland and a master's certificate in program manager from George Washington University and a cybersecurity firm manager certificate from MIT. She oversees a contract portfolio of GSA Premier IT contract vehicles, which federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial agencies spend over $30 billion annual on. She is a 2018 ACIA Partners Program graduate, a 2022 Fed 100 Award winner, and the primary designated representative for the White House Equity Initiative on Black Americans. Let us welcome Cheryl Thornton. Cheryl.
Thank you, Antoinette. Good afternoon, everyone. I was excited when Antoinette reached out and asked me to be a part of this great opportunity. As Antoinette said, I'll start with GSA. We take a lot of pride and we do a lot to ensure that our small businesses are given opportunities to enter into the federal marketplace. Additionally, we have an administrative order out there that's saying that we should bring in new entrants into the federal market space. And so that's what makes this meeting so very, very important to me. We have done several things within GSA. Antoinette, did you raise your hand? I see your hand raised.
No, I did not. Sorry, Cheryl.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. We do a lot of work within GSA, not just bringing on small businesses, but also ensuring that they're successful. We want to not just get a GSA contract award, which means that you can do business with any federal, state, and local or tribunal agency, but we also want to make sure that you are successful. We have done a lot of things. We have created a process called Springboard process. Normally, before this particular process was created, the company would have to have 2 years of government, any kind of experience, whether it was commercial or working with the federal government. Now you can actually quit your job today and use that experience as the experience of coming in and starting your own company. I'm sure as we get into the other presentations, you may hear more about that. If not, I'm happy to speak about it. We also have started looking at ways to not have you go through a long-term wait on getting a financial approval. We have created a financial tool that we are working on getting our vendors, as they come in, processed within 24 hours. So there are several things that we're doing to ensure that new entrants have easy access into the federal government marketplace. We're also looking at what we call underserved communities. And I think, you guys are in a better position to help us find those communities where vendors may not know that they have the opportunity, to enter into the federal market space and work with the federal government. So again, excited about the opportunity to listen to you and see if I can help answer any questions. The White House designation, as Antoinette spoke about, ties into everything that I just talked about. And so I will turn it back over to you, Antoinette, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks, Cheryl, for that opening remarks. Now we are fortunate to have two great GSA subject matter experts, Gail Smith and Sandra Simmons. Gail Smith is a contract specialist in the Information Technology category ITC of the Federal Acquisition Service. Gail began her career with GSA in 2019 with the Utilization and Donation Division. In her current role, Gail reviews and awards e-offers and contract modification in support of the Multiple Award Schedule Program. And we have Sandra Simmons, who began her federal service as a contract specialist at GSA in the Federal Acquisition Service. Her primary responsibility involves administering complex high-dollar contracts. One of Sandra's most rewarding projects involves serving as a Section 508 tester for GSA numerous applications. This helps to facilitate GSA ongoing commitment to make ITC accessible to people with disabilities. Welcome, Sandra and Gail. We have a lot of ground to cover. I think this will be a very informative discussion. And so let's get started with a presentation from Gail and Sandra. Gail, I'm turning it over to you.
Thanks, Antoinette. So I think it's safe to say good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gail Smith, and today we will discuss the multiple award schedule solicitation. I'm gonna pause for a second. Is the slides? I'm not seeing the slides, Antoinette.
Okay, Michelle.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right. So as I said, I'm Gail Smith. You can proceed to the next slide, Michelle. All right, and the next one after that, there we go. Today we will discuss the multiple award schedule solicitation, how to prepare an offer for submission, common mistakes to avoid, and we'll answer some questions. So let's go to the next slide. ITC, the Information Technology category. So information technology is one of the larger contracts in the federal government. We offer a full suite of IT and telecommunications products and services and solutions from highly qualified industry partners. And over 80% of the mass information technology suppliers are small businesses. Next slide. All right, so GSA Mass solicitation. The GSA Multiple Award Schedule Program establishes long-term government-wide contracts with negotiated ceilings prices between commercial suppliers and the federal government, and in some cases, state and local entities. The MASS program offers contractors federal opportunities exceeding $39 billion annually. Becoming a mass contractor, businesses will be able to sell products and services directly to the government agencies using streamlined ordering procedures. The multiple award schedule solicitation and its attachments are posted electronically on sam.gov. The solicitation is a standing solicitation, meaning it is open continuous and vendors can submit offers at any time. The solicitation is updated or refreshed approximately 3 times a year. And the significant changes can be found in the SF30 attachment. Next slide. So listed on this slide are the sections of the solicitation by Roman numerals. You'll find this slide helpful when referring back to the solicitation along with the table of contents. You can easily find the instructions, evaluation criteria, and the terms and conditions. Next slide. So the multiple award schedule available offerings consist of the 12 large categories displayed. Large categories are categories of available products, services, and solutions that are based on government-wide categories and consist of 1 or more subcategories. As mentioned before, each category attachment can be downloaded with the solicitation on sam.gov. Next slide. So now let's talk IT subcategories. So subcategories exist under each large category and further classify offerings under the large category by special item number or SIN. The information technology category contains 6 subcategories: IT hardware, software, services, telecommunications, training, and solutions. So on this side, you can see the SINs that are associated with IT hardware, software, services, and telecommunications. Next slide. Listed here are the SINs that are associated with IT training and solutions, as well as the 3 miscellaneous subcategories that apply to ITC as well. They are new, ancillary, and OLM. So for SIN-specific instructions, you can see the associated category attachment. So let's just say if I wanted more information on cloud computing, SIN 518210 Charlie, I would refer to the information technology category attachment. From there, I can perform a Control F to search and find the SIN, or I can just scroll to the IT solutions section of the attachment. Next slide. Transactional data reporting. TDR is optional and is currently available for 63 SINs. For more information on the 63 SINs, you can visit the GSA TDR page through the link found on this slide. So if an offeror chooses to participate in TDR, their proposed pricing will be compared to like or similar items, and the pricing variability will be applied for negotiation. With TDR, the offeror does not submit the various discounts their company provides, nor is their pricing tied to most favorite customer, the MFC. Offerors that choose to participate in TDR electronically report the price the federal government paid for an item or services purchased through contracts, and TDR participants are not required to provide their commercial sales practices disclosures or to monitor price reduction violations in accordance with GSAR Clause 552.238-81 price reductions. There are special proposal instructions for TDR listed throughout the solicitation. Next slide. Now that we've discussed the basics, let's talk offer prep. Next slide. So when organizing your approach, you want to prepare by completing the assessments and registering for all the systems that you need. Next, you want to understand the SINs you're proposing and their evaluation factors. Then you want to complete market research and formulate your proposal. Finally, you want to review the documents and ensure they are complete. One big thing I can't stress here, missing and incomplete documentation happens more often than not, and it will increase the processing time of the e-offer. As a contract specialist, we'll have to reach out to the offeror for more information or to clarify. So you want to make sure you review all documentation prior to submission. Next slide. So to prepare, the Pathways to Success training helps determine whether obtaining a scheduled contract is in the offeror's best interest. It provides them information on the GSA Schedule Program, expectations of contractors, how to compete and succeed as a schedule contractor, how to develop a schedule-specific business plan, and how to submit a quality offer. The readiness assessment is completed after the pathways assessment by a company officer. It helps ensure the business is ready to submit an offer under the right GSA large category, subcategory, and special item number. DocuSign is also required for the duration of the contract. E-offer, it's a web-based application that allows offerors to electronically prepare and submit their mass offer to the Federal Acquisition Service. So contractors must use a FAS ID multi-factor authentication to access e-offer. Section 889 and Trade Agreements Act compliance is required, and we will discuss those in the next slides. Next slide. So what is 889? Pretty sure everybody's familiar with it, but Section 889 is part of the fiscal year 2019 National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA. And Part A specifies covered telecommunications equipment or services as a substantial or essential component of any system, or as a critical technology as part of any system, is prohibited from being procured or obtained or extended or renewed on a federal contract. Part B prohibits executive agencies from entering into or extending or renewing a contract with an entity that uses equipment, system, or services that uses covered telecommunications equipment or services as a substantial or essential component of any system, or as a critical technology as part of any system. So if you have any questions on that, the definition of covered telecommunications equipment or services, you can find the definition at FAR 4.2101. Next slide. What is TAA? The Trade Acts Agreement of 1979 was enacted to foster fair and open international trade. So under TAA, the products and or services offered on a GSA schedule contract are required to be only US made or TAA designated country end products. A list of designated countries can be found at FAR 52.225-5. All GSA schedule contractors must follow the Trade Acts Agreement, meaning they agree that each final product they sell has been substantially transformed in the US or in a signatory country designated by the TAA. So although TAA compliant countries do not change very often, it's important to routinely check the list to make sure that you're abiding by the GSA regulations and that the country is compliant. Next slide. All right, so the list of documents on this slide are required for offer submission. The agent authorization letter, letter of supply, price proposal template, and commercial sales practices can be downloaded following the links provided on this slide. Now, not all of these documents will apply to every offer, depending on products or services, depending if they use a third-party consultant or not. So the documents will vary. Next slide. Financial statements. The offeror must provide annual financial statements for the previous 2 years, audited if available. Financial statements include the balance sheets and income statements. So if there's any negative financial information, the offeror must provide an explanation. Optional documentation would be a letter of credit or certificate of competency. And the certificate of competency is a certificate issued by the Small Business Administration stating that the small business is responsible with respect to all elements of responsibility and has the capability to perform a specific government contract. Next slide. Okay, so dealers and resellers. If the offeror is not the manufacturer of the products being offered, the offeror may only offer products it is authorized to distribute, either by the manufacturer itself or as otherwise authorized pursuant to a wholesaler agreement. So the Verified Products Portal, it enables authorized original equipment manufacturers and their wholesalers to fulfill the letter of supply requirement by providing supplier authorization information and detailed product content. If the manufacturer is a VPP participant, no letter of supply is required. The government will utilize available VPP data to verify that the offer is authorized to sell the proposed products and has access to an uninterrupted source of supply. The supplier authorization data in the VPP is authoritative and takes precedence over all other evidence to include letters of supplies. Now, if the manufacturer is not a VPP participant, the offeror must upload a letter of supply to the e-offer. Now, failure to provide an acceptable letter of supply may result in rejection of the offer. So the letter of supply template can be found on this slide. Did not add it to that slide. The link will be in a further slide. Next slide. All right, commercial agreements. So commercial supplier agreement terms are standard terms of sale or lease, terms of service, end user license agreements, or other similar legal instruments or agreements. Just like with the letter of supply, these documents are needed to verify the offeror's ability and authority to distribute the products and/or software. Terms and conditions must be compliant with the FAR as they will undergo a legal review. Next slide. So the offer response document. This document is generated electronically in e-offer, and the offeror must fill in the required information before they can submit their offer. This document contains SIN information, NAICS codes, estimated sales, any exceptions the offer takes, authorized negotiator contact information, among other important information. Next slide. Agent authorization. At least one person from the company submitting the offer shall be an authorized negotiator as listed in the offer response document. It is recommended that there are at least 2 authorized negotiators to avoid delaying future actions. I recommend maybe a group email so no correspondence is missed, making the offer unresponsive. If the offeror has a third-party agent, such as a consultant preparing or helping negotiate their scheduled offer, then they will need to complete an agent authorization letter, and that can be found through the link on this slide. Next slide. So pricing requirements. The price proposal encompasses all the pricing terms of the offer. These can be found under SCP-FSS-001J2, Section 3, Price Proposal of the Solicitation. Portions of the responses to the pricing proposal are completed through the e-offer system, while others are required to be uploaded by the offeror. The price proposal template can be found using the links here. Don't delete any information from this template. This is a mandatory offer document in its Excel format, and it has built-in formulas into the cells. So the read me first section, the tab that says read me first, it provides instructions for completing. Very, very instructive. Highly recommend you take a moment just to read that first to know exactly which tabs to use and what information is needed. The offeror must submit an identifiable copy of the company's current dated price list, catalog, or standard rate sheet. Note that this must be an existing standalone document and not prepared for the purposes of the solicitation. Dealers may submit their own commercial catalog as well. The CSP1 must be completed for all non-TDR offers. It outlines the company's sales and discounting policies. For economic price adjustments, the offeror must propose a mechanism for future price adjustments by selecting one of the economic price adjustments clauses at FAR 552.216-70 or IFSS-969. For labor category description and matrix, the offeror must provide a detailed position description for each labor category. Position descriptions must include functional responsibilities, the minimum years of experience, minimum educational or degree requirements, and any applicable training or certification requirements. Labor categories subject to service contract labor standards are required to be indicated on the price proposal template, and the matrix must list all employees that will work on the subject contract. The professional compensation plan must clearly show total compensation, that is salaries and fringe benefits, as well as overtime for all professional employees. Be sure to provide supporting documentation. I can't stress that enough, for each proposed product, service, or price. Supporting pricing documentation may consist of published and publicly available commercial catalogs and price lists, copies of invoices, contracts, or quote sheets, and must be submitted with the offer. Now, there must be a clear and relevant relationship between the supporting documentation and the proposed prices meant to substantiate. Each one of the supporting documents must clearly label the name of the corresponding proposed product or service. Next slide. All right, in terms of country of origin in the proposal, when it speaks to country of origin, keep in mind, as we spoke earlier about the Trade Acts agreement and the clause at FAR 52.225-5, you want to make sure that you're compliant, and when you're filling in the price proposal template and offer response document, it'll ask for the country of origin, and you want to keep in mind that it is one of the TAA countries listed under that clause. Next slide. And now I'll pass it over to you, Sandra.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Gail. As Gail just said, my name is Sandra, and I will be taking it over from here. So when it comes to evaluation factors, and keep in mind that not all of the evaluation factors are going to apply. It depends on what special item numbers are being proposed. So for factor number one, corporate experience. Basically, this is where you are submitting a narrative about your company. What does it look like? What sort of relevant experience do you have? We need at least 2 years, with the exception of the startup springboards. We need to know, what does your organizational structure look like? A organizational chart, experience, resources. What sorts of resources do you have to bring to bear with respect to performing a particular contract for GSA? So this is where you would have that opportunity. Next slide, please. Next evaluation factor is past performance. For this, what we'd like to see is, what were the projects that you've performed like? Were your customers satisfied with your performance? And so there are 2 ways. If your customers were commercial, then we need a questionnaire, which is found in the solicitation. If your previous customers were government customers, then you may very well have a CPARS that we can refer to. Either one of those would work as far as substantiating your past performance. And sometimes there is proprietary information. So what can happen is that the contracting officer of the project can email the questionnaire directly to us. We also want to know what sorts of, if there were any bumps in the road, what was done to mitigate those circumstances, to allow you to be able to come in under budget, despite the fact that you ran late as far as your performance. Anything, we would like perfection, but we understand perfection sometimes doesn't happen. You missed the mark. So then we would like to know how you remedy that. Next slide, please. Quality control is basically what you're doing is you are addressing. We know that you intend to supply a quality product or service to the government. However, we would like to know, this is where you get to explain how you go about executing those high quality standards. We need to know if you can identify a particular person who is responsible for ensuring quality control. And also we need to know for the large businesses that their subcontractors have a quality control program in place. And this is how we verify the quality of the performance. There are many factors, and we want to just make sure that everything is on point and is of the highest quality. Next slide, please. Relevant experience. This is where you have an opportunity to speak directly to the special item number. What sorts of projects have you performed? What did you actually do? Were there any, what regulations did you have to adhere to? What sort of personnel did you have to deploy? Were there any outstanding or extenuating circumstances that you all had to endure? And what happened, what transpired? So we need 2 projects, and this is also where you're going to indicate the contact information that would go back to either the project manager or the contracting officer for that particular project, indicating also your dollar value and things of that nature, so that we can continue on with the evaluation process. Next slide, please. So as far as, in addition, we have some additional technical factors. So for sins such as cloud computing and hacks, these have to undergo an additional layer of vetting or approval, you might say. And it's just to ensure that we're getting what it is that you are indicating that you can perform, that we need a certain standard for these particular special item numbers. And so what is going to happen is, for both cloud and hacks, within the solicitation is all of the documentation that you're going to need. So one of these evaluations is going to be required before we can proceed with the evaluation. It is located in the solicitation. So as part of your platform, as you are preparing your offer and getting everything, all of your documentation compiled, you want to focus in particularly on these types of things if you are proposing one of these special item numbers. You will also have your pricing proposal included and things of that nature. Same thing for hacks. We do need to have that extra layer. So, and you have the option of, well, actually you have to identify 5 different individuals who will be part of the process. Your offer will go through a technical board, and they'll make the determination as to whether or not you were successful. So that is definitely something that you want to focus in on. As I said, in the event that you are interested in submitting this, proposing the SIN, you also do need a pricing proposal and template for that as well. Next slide, please. Okay, pricing proposal. Basically, what a pricing proposal is it is a spreadsheet. It is a template that outlines all of the pricing that will be proposed. It's a pretty extensive worksheet, and it has your pricing for if you're proposing services like labor categories, training, or hardware, software, whatever the case may be. That's going to be part of the pricing proposal. Within that pricing proposal is going to include your commercial pricing. So what you're charging any customer versus what you'll be charging to GSA, which is the GSA discount. And it does not include the industrial funding fee. That is basically the fee that we charge in order to utilize the Schedules program. It's 0.75%. So you'll have both the rates with IFF and rates without IFF. Also, there's your most favorite customer discount. We want to know who your most favorite customers are. There's numerous categories of customers, all commercial customers, OEMs, all sorts of different categories. We want to know who they are, and we also want to know if you offer any discounts and in what form. Next slide, please. So what happens is that the most favorite customer and discounts are outlined on the commercial sales practices format. This document is only required if you are not proposing TDR. So not TDR, we want to know who the customers are. We want to know what the discount structure may be. And basically it is, one needs to be completed for each cent. It is a yearly. So we'd like to know what the year is, what year this is being proposed, and then what is the dollar value to each of the customers, and then the discount structure. Basically, like I said, it's over a 12-month period. We want to know standard discounts, non-standard discounts, things of that nature. Next slide, please. Okay, so you may be asking, okay, this is a lot and that's fine and good, but how about if we are a startup company? We just got started. We don't have all of this documentation. I believe I saw a question, what about Springboard? So this program is for you. If you're your company is less than 6 months old, you do not have all of the documentation that we have outlined thus far, then you can, so you're saying, okay, my company is only 6 months old. What can I do? This opportunity is for you because you're using professional experience. Maybe you don't have the project experience. You haven't been in business this long. So instead, you're substituting key personnel. So for example, you may have a company where they're only 6 months old, 4 months old, but all of the staff have over 30 years of IT professional services experience. And so this is where that information can be substituted. So you're substituting one part for another. You don't have the requisites, but what you do have is the actual experience from another company, from other opportunities, and you're bringing those to bear with respect to Springboard. So you're also going to supply the financial documentation that you may have with the understanding that it is not necessarily going to be as robust as a company that has been in business for a longer period of time. But it absolutely is a means by which you can access the federal space and potentially be awarded a contract. And we have billions of dollars in federal dollars. And so it's definitely something for you to your vendors to consider if they are new. Next slide, please. Fascinating. So probably a lot of you think, wow, well, it may take a long time for this award process, 6 months, a year. No. What we're doing these days is called Fastlane. Fastlane is a process in which a contract and offer can be awarded within 45 days, excuse me. This was initiated with respect to directly support federal agencies' requirements. So we're the premier agency, and we want to do our best to help our federal customers. And therefore, we have created this Fastlane initiative. It is a wonderful opportunity to go ahead and kind of streamline the process, have the offer awarded. The only thing about it is that you have to make sure that your documentation, as Gail has previously indicated, the documentation is on point, because along with the shortened times is the shortened times that we have, the turnaround times. So we're definitely here to work with you, to help you in any way possible. But under FastLane, we simply don't have the same time frames that we once had during the regular process. So it's really, really, really important that if you choose to utilize the FastLane option, that you make sure that to the extent possible, your documentation is absolutely, positively on point. Next slide, please. Okay, so you've decided you are utilizing FastLane, or you're utilizing Springboard, or you're gonna just take the standard approach. All right, well, what then? So you submit the offer and you're sitting on pins and needles, and oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? Not to worry. Once the offer is received by GSA, it will be assigned to a contract specialist who will then begin the evaluation process. You'll receive a welcome letter. I strongly encourage, that welcome letter has the contact information for the contract specialist who will be evaluating the offer. So I strongly encourage you, whenever you receive it, to reach out to that individual, introduce yourself, let them know who you are. And in addition, be as timely as you possibly can when they reach out for additional documentation, revisions, what have you. Next slide, please. So, everyone wants to know, oh, is there such thing as a perfect offer? No. So what we have noticed, we have a list of some of the most common mistakes. One of them is the government site versus contractor site. It is perfectly okay for a vendor to have both, or one or the other. It does not matter. It's just that what has to happen, though, is you have to be consistent throughout the documentation. So if the pricing proposal says that you only have government site, then in the offer responses, we only want to see government site, references to government site, and vice versa. You can have whichever one you choose, which is the best model for your business, but you have to be consistent throughout the offer documentation. Escalation factor. So it is important, particularly for vendors who have services. We have several different ways for you to utilize an economic price adjustment, but if you're using an escalation factor, then we need that to be stipulated in the pricing proposal and in the pricing narrative. TDR, it's definitely something that you want to take a look at. We have the legacy program and we have TDR. Whichever one works best for your company would be the one that you select. It's just that we need you to make a choice. When it comes to supporting your proposals, your pricing, every price, whether you're referring to a product, a service, a labor category, training, software, anything, we need invoices to support whatever pricing is being proposed, because we have to make the determination that the pricing is fair and reasonable. Another thing, particularly for labor categories, your mapping has to be on point. So if you have a data architect, but your invoice says a database manager, we don't know that you want to substitute, we want to use the database manager as the support for the data architect. So you have to create a mapping document that says, this is the proposed labor category, this is the invoice number, and this is the labor category that you're going to find on the invoice, but we really do want to utilize it to support this labor category. If you are an 8A company, Even if you obtain your 8A status in the middle of the process, it is very, 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 very important that you supply the letter, the 8A letter, certification letter to us, because that matters as well. Next slide, please. Additionally, commercial price list. So a commercial price list should never have, it is a standalone document and should never have anything that is specific to GSA. So a commercial price list should never mention the word SIN. That is a document, whether it's the commercial price list in its entirety or a verbatim extract, it's still, there should be the company name, the date, and the pricing that is being proposed. There should not be a reference to special item numbers or anything GSA specific or each or hourly, or those are, we need that to be a standalone document. When it comes to cloud and hacks, ensuring that everything with respect to that is on point. All of the points of contact are listed. All of the particular subcategories are dotted, basically dotting your I's and crossing your T's. When it comes to a EULA, end user license agreement, if you are providing software, it is critical that you include your EULA. And also we need a Word version of the EULA so that our legal team can go ahead and evaluate it and make the necessary comments. So another thing, any product, service, software, training, auxiliary, anything ancillary, it can only be proposed under one SIN. So I strongly encourage you to take a look at all of the SINs before determining which SIN, what you're proposing, with the scope of each SIN, what you're proposing, what scope that would fall under, because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. So just make sure you're sure and understand that you can only propose one SIN for each product, service, or whatever you're proposing. Also, we need you to ensure that your SAM validation is on point. And if you have any particularly for you guys, the PTACs, socioeconomic business identifiers, small business, women-owned business, minority-owned business, things of that nature, that is incorporated throughout the document, throughout the offer whenever it is requested. So for example, in the SAM registration, in the offer responses, and in several other locations, we absolutely need to know that you do have that certification. So that's definitely something you want to focus in on as well. Next slide, please. So if you need any further, you have questions, concerns, you have the screen, the slide is showing you who else you can reach out to. For sure, you can also always reach out to me, Michelle, Gail, the rest of the staff, but this is just some additional information. Next slide, please. And on that note, thank you for attending. I'm going to turn it over to Antoinette.
Thanks, Sandra, and thanks, Gail, for that presentation. Let's see what question have come in from our attendees. Michelle, can you tell us what has come in?
Sure. In the opening remarks, a mention was made that GSA schedule is now open to new company, which does not, I guess, have experience. For pricing, we look at market price, most favorite customer, GSA price, discounted off the most favorite price, and further discounts on only payments. How is this dealt for the new companies? Like Sandra said, and also Gail made reference, submit the documentation, because we know you are a new company and you don't have the requisites of, mostly if you've been in business for 2 years or more. Submit to us what you have and we will take a look at it. So if you don't have the corporate experience, you can also if you was a military, let's use that for example. If you were a military member and you worked in cyber and you retired after 20 years, we can use your resume for that. But look at the solicitation, read the solicitation. It tells you exactly what we're looking for. And if you have additional questions, my name is and contact information is in the email. Sandra or Gail, do you have anything else?
Also, you would want to check the box for Springboard. It's critical that you check the Springboard checkbox in the offer responses document, because once the specialist sees that you're Springboard, then we're going to understand that you don't have that additional information, and we're going to just basically evaluate the offer based on what you have. And we know you're a new company. So if you're new, under 2 years, just make sure that you check the box for Springboard. And like I said, reach out when you get the welcome letter. Make sure that you reach out to that individual and just have that conversation, but you'll be fine. You should be fine.
Okay, the next question, how does the GSA CO review verify that the offerer has actually completed the required pathway to success and readiness assessment training? There is a certificate that documents, so when you're preparing your documents to upload, once you finish the training, print the certificate down that you completed. It has a date and time and who completed it. So that's how we verify that information. Sandra, Gail, do you have anything you want to add? The next question, what if the company has no price list market rate sheet? You say that can't make one for the proposal. So if your company right now, if I walk in off the street and I want to buy your offering services and I want to purchase a software engineer. So somewhere you will have that rate. I don't know if you just Googled you in California, what is the hourly rate for a software engineer in California? You have some type of documentation that identifies your pricing structure. So we don't want you to create it for GSA, but submit to us what you have. It may be referred to as an internal rate sheet, a market rate sheet. Just give us what you have that identifies your pricing structure for the product or services that you're offering. Sandra or Gail, anything you want to add to that? The next question, with all of the IT products manufactured in China with such competitive pricing, China doesn't appear to be a designated country. Under the agreement, can a company offer products manufactured in China, or must they propose products made in the USA, or one of the listed designated questions? Yes, you answered your own question. If they're not a part of the TAA designated list, then you cannot sell their products or services. For the evaluation factor, should KTR provide a current capability statement showing past performance? You can offer that capability statement and we're able to read that, but the best way to move forward when you're submitting an offer is to refer back to our solicitation. We describe pretty much what we're looking for, and it's plain language, so it's not complicated. So if you want to submit additional support and documentation, for the most part, we take no objection to that, but we really prefer, and it's really important that you stick with what we're looking for under solicitation guidance. Products and services proposed must comply with the OFAC, Office of the Foreign Asset Control, and E&O regulations and requirement. again, refer to the solicitation. That information is there. Now, when it comes to foreign assets and E&O regulations and requirement, if it's in scope with our solicitation, you'll find it there. If it's not there in the solicitation, then don't worry about it. It's outside the scope of our solicitation. And Sandra, Gail, do you guys have anything to add to that question? Is there a standalone document and process checklist? Yes, we do have a checklist that we can provide to you. So Sandra described when you submit your offer, you'll receive an email identifying who the contracting specialist, acquisition professional, who will be evaluating and reviewing your offer. Once you receive that contact information, please reach out to that contact and let them know that you would like a checklist. I'm not sure if there's one in the solicitation. I know there once was, but if not, reach out to your contact once you receive the letter from the person who will review your offer and ask them for a checklist. Can you provide the GSA Small Business Specialist name and contract information? It's in there. My name is Michelle Chandler. My email is itvmo.gsa.gov. So when you guys are talking to your customers, you can call me if you have questions. Also, too, if you have questions that you want help with, or if you need me to sit in on a call with a vendor, you are able to call me. So again, Michelle.Chandler, MICHELLE.Chandler, CHANDLER at GSA.gov. At ITVMO.gsa.gov. And in the subject line, put my name, because our ITVMO mailbox receive a lot of information. So in an effort to provide you a faster, quicker response, please put my name in the subject line and ask your question. Other than lowest price, what factors and proposals do you consider to be differentiators for winning an award? Basically, with that question, your invoices is going to dictate the prices that we negotiate. So when it comes to the lowest price, if you just want to lowest price, what factors and a proposal do we consider? We don't buy products and services. We just award the contract for our vendors to provide products and services. So when you are referring to lowest price, the factors proposal do we consider, that's considered at the contract level. We would have no say or no part in that. But I'm gonna let Sandra. Sandra, do you have anything? Gail, do you have anything to add to that?
Okay, so Michelle is absolutely right. When you get ready to issue the task order, you would establish the criteria, but we make the determination because we determine pricing fair and reasonable. And we also vet based on the 4 criteria, evaluation factors like past performance. Those are some things that we utilize to evaluate our offers. But if you wanted something additional, then you would have to take that up at the task order level.
Okay, the next question, for new companies with little to no past performance history, what should they provide in terms of any required past performance? And we went over that. So with that said, you'll check Springboard for the most part, because that way it would give a heads up to the assigned acquisition professional representative that will be reviewing your offer. Now you can submit your resume or even jobs that you have performed to show us that you have experience in the product or service that you are proposing. So we know that you won't have, and when it comes to like past performance history, again, we talked about if you had commercial, there's a PPQ in our solicitation that you're able to submit if it was a commercial customer. If it was a federal government customer, then that's that CPAR that we may able to refer to. But when it comes to past performance for a company with little to no experience, please refer to the solicitation, and it identifies plain language exactly what we need in that space. Sandra, Gail, you have anything to add? Okay, good information. Thanks for presenting today. Can the vendor US O'Connor's labor even if they are not a citizen or resident? So I think what you're asking is, can you have labor categories, I guess, personnel who are not a US citizen under the LCATs? That answer is in the solicitation. Please refer to our solicitation in plain language that can answer that question for you. Now, for the most part, no. But I see Sandra went off her mic. So Sandra, you want to add something? Okay, she's back on her mic. Yeah, please refer to our solicitation. And the reason I say that is because the solicitation is outlined exactly what we need. Everything is in plain language. So I don't want to go off script and say anything outside of our solicitation, because we want to stay in scope of our solicitation. So please understand that. And even when you talk to your customers, let them know what we're looking for is in our solicitation, and it's in plain language. If they don't understand, they can reach out to their representative, and their representative can work with them answering questions. That's what they're there for. So if your customer don't understand something, please feel free to reach out to your representative. They're there to help you, to answer your questions, to bring clarification for you. Sandra, you have something you would like to add?
No, I was just gonna say you're absolutely right. Typically you do have to be a citizen or have that sort of stipulation to perform labor categories services, but as Michelle indicated, that is in the solicitation. We absolutely do cover it.
Thanks, Sandra. So GSA POC Michelle Chandler at itvmo.gsa.gov. So the email address for clarification is itvmo@gsa.gov. That's the email address. Now, when it comes to my name, I'm your point of contact. So put my name in a subject line so that I'm able to help you. Michelle, please provide, I did give my email address, itvmo.gov. at itvmo@gsa.gov. And again, because we see so much email to that mailbox, please put my name in the subject line, and they can just forward it to me, and that would delay the time in a response. And my email is at the top, but I will go up there and I will put it again. Again, itvmo@gsa.gov. And my name again is Michelle Chandler, but I will add that here again for you. And it's, let me go down. I think that's all of the questions.
Is that all the question, Michelle?
Oh, wait, oh, wait, no, I got a couple more. So if an application is not fast, how long will it take approximately? So that answer, the standard answer is 110 to 120 days. Now, the non-standard answer, that's going to depend on how fast you respond. So whoever you decide to make the authorized negotiator, the point of contact on that person, GSA representative, once you identify the person contact you, who they are, who will be evaluating your offer, once they contact you, they're going to require additional documentation and clarification. If that is a requirement and they reach out to you, please try to refer to them in a timely manner, because that would help them process your offer. So any delays in providing in meeting the 110 days, it would all depend on you. So the official answer is 110 days. In addition to that, your response is how fast you respond to the CO or the CS who's reaching out to you for documentation. That will make that process kind of capture and meet that 110 days. But if you're not responding timely, that will lengthen the opportunity for that specialist to meet that 110 days. Now, if you're fast lane, and fast lane is SIN Pacific. So as Sandra described, the fast lane process, we started that a while back in an effort to get emerging tech information to the federal market space in a faster, more timely manner. Also with Springboard, some of the Springboard companies, these new companies have emerging tech, but the Springboard program, instead of waiting the 2 years, you only have to wait, you have no wait period under the 2 years. So in an effort to get this information to the these products and service in a federal market space in a more timely manner, we have fast lane, and that takes up to 45 days. And the same applies when it comes to how long does it take to award. If you get those documents, our job is to get it awarded in 45 days or less, but we can't do that if you're not responding to the required information in a timely manner. So there's a 110-day process for non-specific fast lane SINs, and then for the specific fast lane SINs, it's 45 days or less. And if the US country is selling their own products, a software application that they created, but they use an overseas company to develop the software, does that item meet the requirements of an American-made product because of IT exceptions? Can the company pursue a GSA contract, for instance? So again, TAA. So if it's not a designated country in software, it could be like what am I looking for? It's like a product and a service. So I hope that kind of makes sense. So to be on the safe side, read the solicitation and what it's looking for. But for software, we want to make sure that all our products and services are in compliance with our solicitation and the TAA rules. So I hope that answers your question. And it doesn't matter if it's software. And then we also have 889 Part A and B. Please refer to that for this question. So for the most part, there's instructions in the solicitation, and please read section 889 A and B when it comes to countries like that, questions like that. Sandra, do you want to add? Gail, you guys want to add anything to that?
Great job, Michelle. The only thing I would mention on that is just keep in mind that when it comes to the final product, we're talking substantially transformed. That's the key word there. Was it substantially transformed outside of the US? Or is it mostly transformed inside the US or one of the signatory countries? If inside the US and one of the countries, you're fine. But if it is substantially transformed outside of the US, then there will be an issue there, and you want to refer back to FAR 52.225-5.
And in addition to that, when it comes to questions like that, you want to make sure you have them refer to that FAR clause that Gail just mentioned, because we don't want to be outside the scope of the contract, because it would just like result in us rejecting your offer, if that makes sense, or calling you and asking you to withdraw it. And then I think that Substantial developed, I think the 51%, I think if the product is more than 51% manufactured in the USA, so keep that in mind and refer to that too. I think that number is right. Gail, Sandra, is that still correct? I believe it is. No comments. Okay, so that ends.
I think so, Michelle. I think that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So if it's more than 51%, then yes. But again, please refer to our solicitation, because we don't want to go outside of the scope of our solicitation, because it would only cause delays or maybe a rejection again, or we'll call you and ask you to withdraw because the information we requested in the solicitation is not provided. And again, that concluded my question, all of the questions. So my name again, Michelle.Chandler@gsa.gov, but please email me at the itvmo@gsa.gov if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to
Thanks,
turn it back over to
Michelle.
you and turn it back over to you, Antoinette.
Great, thanks, Michelle, and thanks so much to our presenters for the wealth of information and for this very informative discussion. For the questions that we did not have time to address, if any, will be posted at the FAQ after the training at our GSA Interact website at interact.gsa.gov, along with a copy of today's presentation and a webinar recording in the next few weeks. Again, if you would like additional assistance or have any question about our GSA products or services, please reach out to Michelle Chandler at michelle.chandler@gsa.gov. If you would like to know more about additional training, please check out our website at www.gsa.gov/events. I do want to take this time to say thanks again for taking the time to join us today, and we want to be your partner. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.